I bet you guys are wondering, why is Mark walking down the side of a street at night? Well, we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, what I need to tell you is what happened today. I hope it rounds out quite the terrible week that I had. This would have started, what is today? Wednesday? Yeah, no. This would have started Sunday. Or Monday. One of those days. It started like 3 or 4 days ago. Welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry I'm in vertical mode, but I'm walking up here to this gas station so I can get some injector fluid for my car. This has been quite the nasty week of travel, and it started in Pittsburgh. So I got to Pittsburgh at Atlantic Aviation, and I had 1 hour to get from the FBO over to the commercial terminal. So I figured, I'm like, you know what? It's Sunday. There's not many airplanes out here. I'm pretty sure Atlantic can just drop me off. We pull into our parking spot. I immediately call them up, and I was like, hey, I just need a ride over to the commercial terminal. And they were like, oh, well, we can't do it right now. We're so swamped and we're short-staffed. So I was like, okay. So I took my lazy behind up to the front of the airplane to poke my head out, and it's like 4 or 5 private jets, some of them just waiting. So that's where it all started. I got to Norfolk, Virginia, and the next day, that's when the problems continued, was out of Norfolk. So I got a flight from Norfolk to Baltimore. Hold on a second. So I got a flight from Norfolk to Baltimore, and I scheduled myself a 4-hour layover because I had an extremely important phone meeting that was taking place. That was the best thing I can do. I'm trying to kill so many birds with one stone. And then I go from Baltimore to Houston, and from Houston to Oklahoma City. So those of you that have never flown Southwest Airlines, first off, let me tell you, they are the best airline out there, one of my favorite airlines out there. But sometimes, if you don't look close enough at their flight schedule, it'll say a little stop in there. And so this particular stop was in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, that's no problem. We pull into the gate. I help the flight attendants clean the airplane, and we are still sitting there. And I mean, I knew we were early, and thus we had some ground time, but you know, like at this point, we're running late, and I don't know, my spidey senses are telling me that something is not right at all. So to make a long story short, I guess the flight canceled, and because I'm going standby on Southwest, they kicked me off the freaking flight. Not like kicked off as in like I did something unruly, but I was bumped off. There you go. That's a more gentle term. So I was bumped off of the freaking flight. So there I am in Jackson, Mississippi, with barely any freaking service. And it's such a small airport. I've never been there before. And it's a whole sea of faces there. And people are just looking at me like I felt like Beyonce on stage. Shout out to Delta Airlines there in Jackson, Mississippi, because I thought my goose was cooked there because it was late. I know those real small airports they barely have service. So I happened to be squinting at the departure board because I had my glasses on. I didn't put my contacts in because for some reason they burn the crap out of my eyeballs whenever I'm trying to sleep on a flight. So anyway, back to the story. So there's this really nice young lady that worked for Delta, and she was like, "Sir, what can I help you with? Are you looking for a flight?" So I told her my situation, and I'm so tired because by this point I have been going all day, including that 4-hour break in Baltimore. And I'm hungry. My phone barely has any service. I'm trying to book a hotel room. And then I ran into this angel. So she told me that they had a flight leaving in 45 minutes. And the thing that was so crazy is Delta actually had room. They had seats. I went from Jackson, Mississippi to Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia to Oklahoma City. Well, there's a problem with that too. We would have landed in Atlanta at 10:05. Well, that flight would have been boarding at about 9:55. So I couldn't book it all at one time, and I was pranked. So I had to book it into two separate segments. And I was hoping and praying that flight would be early. And thank God it was early. It was early enough to where I was able to have enough time. And those of y'all that have been to Atlanta, y'all know how nerve-wracking that is. That airport is nerve-wracking even when you're early. So thank God I was able to make it. I get here to Oklahoma City and I have to be to work at the hotel earlier this afternoon. Now, this is where today's problem. Why is there? Oh, anyway, don't mind me. You know, I'll pull out onto the road and my car will not go above 10 to 15 miles an hour, and I'm losing speed, and I'm on a freaking road. Well, thank God the road wasn't that busy at the time, but I ended up having to put my flashers on, pull over, and I was like, what the F word? Like, are you effing kidding me? Rent is due tomorrow. Well, it's actually the 29th, but still. Rent is due tomorrow, and I have a freaking transmission problem. And I was like, and I never call out from work, like ever call out from work. And that right there really, really pissed me off because, you know, I mean, like, first off, you know, I'm already broke enough as it is. And so now I'm going to be even more broke. I limped my car back to my place, and I started immediately calling around. Hold on a second, make sure none of these cars turn in and wipe me off the map. Anyway, I'm back. I was calling around to some mechanics trying to figure out the problem. Hey, give me, actually, no. I'm gonna bring y'all in here with me. One of the mechanics was saying, he was like, it sounds like your car is going into what's called a limp mode. You know, I finally found, so after I lost my code reader, I finally found it, and it gave me a code. And it said, I'm gonna have to post it in there. I can't remember what it said. But basically, to make a very long story short, after doing all of this research, then about, I can't remember that either. But anyway, So I am here at the gas station now. I need to get some fuel injector cleaner because I'm thinking that might work. I'm hoping it works. Okay, I am back in vertical mode again. I have my handy dandy fuel injector cleaner right here, and we are headed back to the apartment. So after all the research that I had done and the codes that I ended up pulling up, it was leading me to think that it is, what the hell? Anyway, so it was leading me to understand that it might be a fuel injector problem because my car had been losing gas mileage. I hardly ever drive it, and I'm on my way back home, and hopefully that is it. This was actually supposed to be about a day in Boston because I had something really important going on up there, and I couldn't make it because of everything that initially started at Atlantic Aviation in Pittsburgh. I mean, shout out to them. They're super nice people. They were doing the best that they can, and trust me, working in hotels, whenever somebody says to a customer they are short-staffed, hold on a second. Honey, that means they are in pain and they are hurting. Anyway, so here I am in Oklahoma City, walking back to my car, and hopefully this stuff works and I don't have to take it into the shop. So with all that said, that whole entire fiasco, with all that said, I do have to make a really hard decision very, very, very soon, because I cannot continue to shoulder these really expensive commuting costs that I have to incur every time I go to work. And, you know, I get a pretty nice discount at hotels, but more and more they're getting harder and harder to find. And also, because they're getting harder and harder to find, I'm having to stay in areas I wouldn't normally stay in because I have to be back to the airport so freaking early in the morning. Now, that brings to me another issue is I predict, this is just my prediction, so don't go running with it, but if it comes true, you better drop a comment on this video saying it came true. But there's going to be a shortage of Uber and Lyft drivers because in a lot of the cities that I've had to take an Uber or a Lyft from, they are not paying the drivers very well at all. This one Lyft driver said that Lyft charged a customer $90 to go from point A to B, and she only got paid $50 of that, and it was something upwards of like 100 miles or something like that. So, you know, and the car she was driving was pretty fuel efficient, but still, you know, with everything going up, and I mean, that's just not very cool. And so yeah, like Lyft and Uber are more expensive, and the hotels are becoming more expensive. And, you know, this isn't how this was whenever I first started commuting again. So like I said before, there's going to be a huge change that's going to have to be done because I cannot continue shouldering these really high costs. All right, well, I think that is it for this vlog for now. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna hit y'all back whenever I put this fuel injector in my car, start it up. Hopefully it purrs like a kitten. Fingers crossed. All right, I'll see y'all whenever I get home. Run up, get done up. If we beefing, I got you. Really, universe? Are we beefing this week? Are we beefing this week, universe? Because it kind of seems like it. I got my car back, and before y'all start asking, oh, did you get your car fixed? No, I didn't. Well, that little thing that I did not work. So I ended up having a tow truck to come pick this thing up. Took it over to the body shop, not the body shop. Took it over to the auto mechanic shop. And I called up there the next day. They couldn't find anything. They said that they cleared something, and sometimes that does the trick. I drive home and it's purring like a kitten. So, you know, there's no issues, but like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I'm not driving this car on the interstate for the foreseeable future. So here I am coming into work at the hotel, and halfway here, taking all the city streets, halfway here, the check engine light comes on. Here we are back again. So not only did the check engine light come back on, but the oil light came on as well. And I just changed the oil yesterday. So I'm thinking maybe it'll reset itself. They tried doing it, couldn't figure it out. So yeah, so I'm driving, and you know, the oil light's off. I'm about halfway to work, the oil light comes back on. I'm like, okay, it's clearly a sensor problem. Then a check engine light comes back on, but the engine is running normally. So I'm thinking, you know, it might be a sensor that's out. So I don't exactly know what's going on, but I'm going to put this car back into the shop again. That is it for this episode. I'm going to start filming on the next episode after this. Other than that, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I need to go back up in here, but I figured I would film the last part of this episode. Okay, all right, talk to y'all later. Bye.